What's good, ladies and gentlemen? The first ever Heel Team S6x TV. I got my man Hurls here. Hurls, how you doing, brother?
I am doing good. I cannot wait to talk about this crazy NBA free agency. What a wild ride it's going to be.
It was, you know what? The last time that we did a show, we hit a lot on the head. We killed it. It's an episode that's never going to be seen. We don't have the audio no more. We don't have it, but I think when me and you get together, we drop some shit on people.
That's right. I think that audio is somewhere out in Kyle land, if you will.
All right. So I think first and foremost, we'll start with congratulations to the 2019 Toronto Raptors. It is my squad with no biasness because obviously from here it's downhill. You look at it, you had Lakers, Clippers, and Raptors, and everybody was saying this and this and this and that. Ultimately, if Kawhi stays, all right, Toronto could try to run it back. Kawhi bounces. He goes to the Clippers, and my team can go from a 1 or 2 seed to now a 5 to 8 seed. They did pick up a few journeyman guys like Stanley Johnson, Rondé Hillis Jefferson, or something like that from the Nets. Decent guy. No big names of anything. But it ultimately comes down to Kawhi. I felt Kawhi knew from the beginning where he wanted to go, especially how it kind of ended with him. At like 1:53 in the morning, it says, Kawhi Leonard signs the Clippers. At 1:55 in the morning, 2 minutes later, Paul George is traded to fucking the Clippers for like 5 number 1 picks. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Because I think that shit was obviously known for a minute.
Well, to go back to start from your first comment with the Toronto Raptors, they had a great playoff run. I mean, they just looked determined. Ever since the point when Kawhi Leonard just hit that game winner against Philly, it was just that magical season. Nothing could bring them down. Even a 2-0 Bucks lead couldn't bring the Raptors down. So, and then taking care of Golden State, that was crazy. So, but this trade with Paul George, we're going to start with the Paul George trade. I think it's just unbelievable that the Thunder this guy literally just signed a new contract last year for 4 years to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and now he wanted out. And it's crazy to me how the Thunder just kind of gave in, but you know what? I heard some things on the radio that said that the Thunder are a team where they want guys who want to be there. So I guess, I don't know, I think that can hurt them. But they did get a nice haul because I'm a huge fan of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's a hell of a point guard. So they did get a lot of assets for him. I just think that when you got a guy signed for 4 years and he's already wanting out, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's the part that's kind of weird is that, I don't know how these guys' contracts are. And, I heard a few rumors where they were saying that he only signed there with the understanding that if he actually wanted to be traded, they had to grant it, kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how true. Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but that was on like the Jump, with Rachel Nichols and things like that. People were talking about it, so I don't know. But at the end of the day, Oklahoma has a bunch of times seems like they're right there to go to the NBA Finals. Like, they're one shot away or one play away, and then all of a sudden somebody leaves, kind of like the Harden thing, and then with Durant leaving, they just seem, I don't know what to say about it, but listen, Paul George is a super talented guy. They did get the point guard, and like you said, I think he's going to be a really good point guard. 5 years of number 1 picks, though. You're looking at the Clippers, you say, okay, they'll always be in the playoffs, but that just gives you an extra opportunity to get, land one of those diamond in the rough kind of guys. So, I like it for the Clippers. And now, what are you really going to do with Russell Westbrook? Because supposedly, they try to trade him, and he wants out now. So, if he does get traded, where do you think he goes?
I think I got to go with what I've been reading lately is the Miami Heat. Apparently
Rockets.
there's a lot of mutual interest there. I actually think the Miami Heat could work out. I don't think they're a championship team or nothing, but I think the way that him and Jimmy Butler like to play, I think they actually might be able to complement each other well, and I could definitely see it. I'm not a huge Russell Westbrook fan like everybody else is. I understand the guy plays really hard, but man, the guy's just got he has the ball too much at times, and his jumper's not very good, and he takes a lot of shots. So that can be a bad combination at times. I don't think he's the best passer in the world. So, but having said that, he plays hard on the defensive end. Him and Jimmy Butler, that could be a nice little tandem. I don't think it's going to be anything like Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals, but I think they could easily get to the second round and make it difficult for somebody.
Now the thing is, don't they still have Goran Dragic?
Yeah, they do. There was reports that Miami was trying to get rid of Goran Dragic. They were trying to package him somewhere, but every kind of deal they were trying to send him off to was getting, I guess it fell through. So I don't think he's in their long-term plans, but I could be wrong on that.
Wow. Like, you know, the thing that scares me about Russell Westbrook, besides the basketball talent stuff, is that at 34 years old, he's going to be making almost $43 million.
Man.
You know,
wow.
And you're looking at a guy who, it's true, like if you look at his contract, he, you know, at 34 years old, he's going to make $43 million, and he's a guy who needs his athleticism.
Yes, definitely. Because,
you know, and he's already lost some explosiveness. You know, does he still get up and slam it and stuff? Obviously, yeah. But you could see him, and to be honest with you, his body's going to fall apart faster than you know, anything else. And at 34 years old, if he starts to really slow down and he loses that explosiveness, do you want to be paying him, you know, $43 million?
No, not at all.
That's the thing. That's why, like, a lot of people were like, oh man, you know, supposedly that the Raptors wanted him. Like, I like Russell Westbrook's game. Like, I like he plays hard, but like you said, listen, this is a guy who pads his stats. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
He just pads his stats, and it is what it is. You can say whatever, but to be honest with you, like, he took his team over the hump. He hasn't.
Never. I mean, since Durant has left, that team has been just sputtering in the first round every single time.
It's rough, man. It's rough. All right. We get the Clippers out the way. We get the Oklahoma craziness out the way. Now I think we should touch up on the Lakers.
Oh, boy.
I don't believe in them. I'm putting it out there now. I don't believe in them. I think LeBron is starting to fall apart, which, you know, the guy's been in the league straight out of high school, so he's got a lot of miles on his body. You know, a lot of people think it's hate, but if you listen to what I'm about to say, it just makes perfect sense. LeBron has had long seasons. He's always in the playoffs. You know, after, you know, with Cleveland, he was getting to the finals before he went to Miami. So you're looking at a guy who was in the finals for so many years. There's a lot of games under that body. Anthony Davis. What's up?
Oh, I was just saying tons of miles.
Oh, absolutely. And Anthony Davis is another guy who gets these nagging injuries and misses games. So if you do any kind of load management with the Lakers, you can't have load management with that team. Like, you can't sit LeBron for, you know, let's just throw the Kawhi 22 games out there. LeBron can't miss 22 games, and neither can Anthony Davis. Your next star is Kuzma, which I don't know how Kuzma's going to, you know, does he want to be the third wheel? Does he want to be the new Chris Bosh? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. If a young kid's down to play like that, that's fine. You know, I think they overpaid Danny Green something crazy. 2 years, like $30 million. Like, here's a guy who, he had 3 good games for the Raptors in the entire playoffs. 3. He also had games where he scored no points. You know, once he did no points in Milwaukee, and he had another donut against Golden State. Like, this is a guy who, in the regular season, he was shooting like lights out. Got to the playoffs, he disappeared. defense is there, no question. But when you got a team like the Lakers, you need to step up because they're not deep at all.
No, I'm looking at their roster right now. I mean, I like Kyle Kuzma. I think he's a hell of a player. I'm still kicking at my team, the Bucks, for not drafting him that one year. But I'll tell you this, though. I don't know how much better Kyle Kuzma is going to get because let's not forget, he's a guy that came out of school, I think, his junior year. So he was already older coming out of college. I mean, how much better you think Kyle Kuzma is going to get? He's going to get better, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be like monumental. It's going to be like a Malcolm Brogdon, you know? You kind of already know what you got.
The thing is, though, is, like I said, Anthony Davis wants his touches. LeBron is a guy who, you know, his whole thing was eventually I'll play off the ball. Now there's reports of him trying to be the point guard, which means the ball's always in his hands. Then you get Boogie's going to want some touches. So where are all these guys getting all these touches?
That's a good question. I don't like that LeBron experiment, and I could totally see that being the case because look who is on that coaching staff. You got Frank Vogel, the head coach, and then you got Jason Kidd as an assistant coach. A lot of people think that Jason Kidd is vying to be the head coach, and there's a lot of rumors that say, you know, if Frank Vogel gets fired, Jason Kidd will be the head coach, and that's kind of what they think that he's there for. But that's what he did with Giannis. He made Giannis the point guard. And Giannis, now granted it wasn't the greatest thing, but Giannis picked up a lot of skills during that time. And that's what I think he's trying to do with LeBron here possibly. And I don't really like it. I think they should just let Rondo handle it. But I think if they really are truly serious about LeBron being the point guard, I don't think this team's going to be as good as a lot of people are going to make them out to be. And you're right. I mean, you got Cousins that they just signed. We saw what Cousins did in the finals. Like, he had some okay moments, but man, he makes a lot of stupid decisions. Lots of stupid decisions. I mean, what was that one game they almost, you know, in the finals, DeMarcus Cousins almost lost the game for the Warriors. I thought he was playing for the Raptors for a little bit, but
you know, it felt like that. Like, if we didn't know that he was a ring chaser, it felt like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, okay, they picked up Jared Dudley. He's a smart player, but, you know, he's up there in age. And you got JaVale McGee, you know, whatever. He is what he is. They did pick up Quinn Cook, so he's going to be a nice backup point guard, shooting guard coming off the bench. They also got that G League guy, Alex Caruso. He did okay for them last year. I'm not a huge Kentavious Caldwell-Pope fan. Danny Green, you're exactly right. Like when in the Bucks series, I mean, I think the Bucks might have left him open half the time and he couldn't hit anything. And then all of a sudden in the finals, he kind of woke up a little bit. But you know, you're right. He's a streaky player. I think this team maybe gets 55 wins, maybe. But I mean, if I'm being serious, I could see this team almost like winning maybe 48 and 34. I could see them being kind of overhyped.
Oh no, I think they're extremely overhyped. The Caruso guy, he's had you know what the shit that gets me with certain players is everybody keeps showing the 4 dunks he's got. Now let me tell you, for a guy who's balding, I don't know what his age is, but you know what I mean? He's throwing it down on cats. I give him that. But where's there a highlight of him hitting a game winner or having a game of 20-something points, you know, shooting from behind the arc, killing it? You don't see it. And where are all these minutes coming from? If LeBron's your point guard, I'm telling you now, it's going to suck for Rondo and all these other guys because he's going to dominate the ball.
Yep. And that's a lot of people get frustrated playing with LeBron. And you could definitely see a guy like Kyle Kuzma getting just not many touches, getting frustrated, and ultimately maybe wanting out because you know LeBron's going to have to feed Anthony Davis to keep him happy. But there's always that young guy they may forget about. So I don't know. I'm not feeling this team.
Not at all. And he's also got the Kuzma. Isn't he dating one of the Jenners too?
Yes, he is.
So you know he's fucked.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's unfortunately for him, he's got the Kardashian Jenner case, so he's in a world of hurt before he even steps on the court.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good to be associated with that Kardashian clan.
Nah, man, everybody, their careers go to shit after them. Like, It's a shame, man. It's a shame. All right, so I think we should jump into your Bucks, and I'm gonna let you take it because you're a Bucks guy. I like what they've done. Just go ahead. I'll play second fiddle to you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, the Bucks were in kind of a tough spot coming off a really great season. Winning 60 games last year, being the number 1 seed. They had a lot of things go right. I mean, the Toronto series was an eye opener, especially up 2-0, and then just couldn't do nothing after that. But they had a lot of free agents coming off, and a lot of those guys were, you had Brook Lopez, who we had for probably the smallest deal for the amount of production this guy was giving us, 13 points a game and 5 rebounds, but he hit the most 3-pointers out of any center ever, so that was kind of cool. But we were able to re-sign him at 4 for $52 million, I believe it was. So I was happy they brought him back because he really fits the system. And then, they traded Tony Snell because he had such a huge contract. They kind of had to get that off the books if they wanted to, make the moves that they had to make. The Bucks got John Lure. He's just there. I mean, he could be a trade piece going forward. Who knows? And then they re-signed George Hill. Well, actually, what they did was they waived him because we had a team option for like $18 million. Obviously, the Bucks weren't bringing him back for that, and they re-signed him at 3 years for $29 million. So that's a pretty good deal, especially for a guy where I think won them that Boston Celtics series. I mean, Giannis is Giannis; he's going to do everything. But George Hill was kind of that secondary piece that just really, really helped out and really did some big things. So that was crucial, I think, getting George Hill. Now the problem is Malcolm Brogdon's no more on the team. He was a restricted free agent. The Bucks could have matched, but I'm not really sure the full details of why they didn't match. I'm not sure if Malcolm Brogdon wanted to be here because, I mean, he's made some comments in the past saying he didn't really care for the city. So it's possible he didn't want to be here. It's possible also that the Bucks just really weren't going to pay him 4 years for $85 million. And the Pacers may have just tried to, really up the stakes to get him. So Malcolm Brogdon was out. It's unfortunate, but you can't keep everyone. And lo and behold, Wes Matthews is in. So Wes Matthews signed a 1-year deal for basically peanuts. He's a little above the veteran minimum. So I think the deal is great. Also, I want to say too, though, yeah, the Bucks lost Malcolm Brogdon, but they also got a trade. They also got it wasn't just a we're letting you go to Indiana. It was actually a trade. It was for first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. So now you got some assets back because the cupboard was kind of dry for a long time. So I like the moves they made. They also signed Giannis's brother and Robin Lopez. Robin Lopez is just gonna be that backup center to go up against Embiid and maybe Marcus Gasol, the real bigs. So that's why we got Robin Lopez and Giannis's brother. He's there to, hopefully get Giannis to sign that Supermax extension next year. So, I like the Bucks. I think I could see them, winning around the same amount of games. And, it is what it is. I think they could go anywhere from 55 wins to, heck, I'll even say like 62. I don't think they'll drop too much if they do drop, but it's definitely possible because you just never know. Also, I forgot to mention that the Bucks did re-sign Chris Middleton for a huge contract, 5 years, $178 million. That's a lot of dough. It is actually not the max, believe it or not, but I think it was kind of one of those moves where you had to. Giannis likes playing with him. He's a good compliment to Giannis. I hope he steps up more in the playoffs, but it is what it is. So I guess we'll take it. We still got our 2 All-Stars, so that's pretty much what I got for the Bucks this year, and that's kind of my prediction. I mean, they could easily go to the finals. But you never know. Philly and Boston, they're going to be right there. So maybe even Indiana gets there. So.
Okay. I agree with everything you say. No question. I love the fact they got some draft capital back. I do think they way overpaid Middleton. Like you said, at this point, they kind of got to. I see them winning more or the same amount because I think the East got weaker. I don't think that Philadelphia is as stacked anymore. We talked before this, and you made a good point that Boston, without Kyrie, I think is a better team. But who knows what Boston looks like? They took a massive hit. Listen, Milwaukee went to Boston and beat the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Like that was an ass whooping handed to you. And a lot of these young guys, some people say, oh, they're going to come back hungry. They're going to want the Bucks. Do you really want that? Like, I don't think they're ready for that smoke yet. So I don't think Boston got much better. Like I said, I don't think Philly got much better. Indiana, they were looking pretty good before Victor Oladipo went down. So there's a few, but I see Milwaukee staying at the top of the East. I do, and I don't want to. I have to do this. Like, I have to make a crazy prediction because every time we do something, I got to make a crazy prediction. I think that Giannis stays and does the Supermax, right? I really do think that he stays in Milwaukee. I'm a big Giannis fan. I love Giannis. Am I a Raptor fan? Absolutely. What I'm about to say sounds like a homer pick. But a lot of people know that Giannis and Masai Ujiri have a really good relationship. I'm not trying to jinx the Bucks, but I would not mind seeing Giannis in a Raptor jersey. They're going to have the cap for it because Lowry comes off the books, Gasol comes off the books, Ibaka comes off the books. Like, you have all these big contracts. They have enough to sign him, make him happy, do whatever they got to do. So I'm going to say when that option's there, I'm going to say that I think Giannis might be in a Raptors jersey. It's hopes and dreams, but I'm throwing it out there.
Oh, God, I hope not. I really hope not.
I did this with Kawhi. I had to do it. I was sitting there, I was like, well, man, if I do something with Hurls, I got to say something crazy. If it happens again, I don't know what to say. But no, I really like what the Bucks did, and I think that the Bucks are your best team in the East this year coming through. I don't see another team, being able to do anything to the Bucks. Honestly, I think they're better. We were talking about this, and Brogdon always has some kind of ailing injury going into the playoffs where he's limited, and just it seems like they're going in it's the same direction. But I think with the year with what's your coach?
Mike Budenholzer. Yep.
Budenholzer. I think with the year under his belt and going forward, he understands, he adjusts, he can see things. So I really like them going forward. I do think that they'll go to the Eastern Conference Finals and then to the finals. I don't see a challenge. We can go right into one team that everybody's hyped on in the East. I don't see it. We'll go right into the Nets. You get Kyrie, you get DeAndre Jordan, you get Durant. Everybody's hyped up. Kevin Durant and Kyrie. First off, Durant's not even playing this year.
Yeah, he's out.
You know what I mean? So he's not even playing this year. So you have Kyrie, you got Allen, you got Jordan. And listen, defensively, your two bigs, they're going to protect the rim. You got two great shot blocking, rebounding monsters. Offensively, they kind of remind me of a less athletic, because DeAndre Jordan's already, Tyson Chandler, where your point guard can, drive the lane, dish for the alley-oop or whatever. But to be honest with you, you have Joe Harris, LeVert, and none of those guys, that team is not built to beat Milwaukee right now. If Durant was healthy, I'll say, okay, it'd be interesting. Now it's going to be a game. But you don't have a healthy Durant. So, I mean, I can see the Nets being a 2-3-4 team. I could see them, with Kyrie and these other guys and defensively and all that other shit, being one of those teams. You know what I mean? The East is weak. I think there's no super teams no more. Like, there's no super stacked squads. I don't really even think Miami's that serious with Jimmy Butler. I mean, we'll get to Jimmy Butler in a minute, but What's your take on the Nets?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he could be what Lou Williams is to the Clippers. He could be that nice sixth man. Heck, but with Durant out, maybe they go Irving and Dinwiddie in the starting Harris and maybe move Joe Harris to the 3. I'm not sure. At the power forward spot, you could put Jared Allen there, but you also got Rodens Kurics. That guy played pretty well coming down the stretch in the second half of the season. But you're right, man. I mean, they also, I did forget they did get Taurean Prince. I mean, he's a solid player. He's more defense than anything, but he can get you 14 a game. Nothing wrong with that. I think they're like middle of the road. We all see what Kyrie does by himself. It's not pretty. He tried to do that with the Boston Celtics. I don't think this team has enough talent, but they do got a lot of three-point shooters. That's the one thing where they could kind of beat you on any given night, but they could also lose to anybody really on any given night. I don't think they're consistent enough. DeAndre Jordan, he protects the middle, and he's going to get a lot of boards. But it is what it is. He's not scaring me. I mean, Jared Allen's a solid talent. I think, him, I don't know if they're going to start him at the 4 or he comes off the bench. I'm not sure how that's going to be. They're going to have a nice squad, but I think they're going to be somewhere between 44 to 47 wins. If they really get hot, I'll say they might get 50, but especially without Durant this year, I don't see them being much more, a little bit better than 500.
See, now the thing, like you said, with him clogging the middle, right, with DeAndre Jordan, and this is what I'm trying to say, because like I said, and like I got to stress it, I'm a Raptor fan, but I got no hate for any team except for the Lakers or some other shit. But when you really look at it, and I keep trying to tell people Milwaukee is serious, and everybody wants to be like, the Nets. First of all, Brook Lopez can step out. He's got range. Somebody's got to guard him. Somebody's got to get out that middle now. What are you going to have DeAndre Jordan doing? Following him to the 3-point line?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Milwaukee is built to beat the Nets. Like, they're built to be able to stretch their bigs.
Yep.
So, with that, you look around, you're like, okay, what's next? And I did forget about Taurean Prince from Atlanta. I like the kid. I think he's an athletic kid, more of a defensive guy. They have a defensive team. I like that. Cool, fine. Defense wins championships to me. But at the same time, they don't got enough in Milwaukee. And to be honest, they don't really have a legit veteran that's like, I would try to, if I was them, I'd try to go for like a Vince Carter or something like that to try to like calm these dudes down, because Kyrie is a head case. This is no secret. DeAndre Jordan, when has he ever been like a leader of a team?
None. Yeah.
None. And then KD, people have always said they don't like playing with KD, and he's it's kind of like an ass. So like, you have guys with all these egos, and who's your vet to be like, your locker room guy to be like, yo, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, we got to come together kind of thing, and you don't have that. I can see that team exploding so quick, it's crazy.
They could. That's the thing. They have a lot of with Kyrie and DeAndre. I like the rest of the guys, but man, you're right. Just with those two guys and KD put on the team, this could go south real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not a believer of them. You got all of New York hyped on this. First off, like we keep saying, this guy's not even playing this year, so calm down. It's crazy.
Who knows what he's going to look like, too, when he comes back?
That's the thing. Isn't he coming back? He'll be like 32 years old at that point with a massive injury.
Yeah.
And did you get to see it? Like, I don't know, because I know you don't have Instagram, but did you ever see the close-up of how his things?
Yes.
Dude. Oh, man, it was horrible. You know what I mean? Like,
it was nasty.
So, I mean, I hope he comes back. Look, we're older guys. We don't want to see anybody get hurt like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But at the same time, you don't even know what Kevin Durant you're going to get back. You know what I mean? You don't know what he's going to look like.
Not at all.
Do you want to touch up on the Heat? Because you can touch up on the Heat, because I could care less about what the Heat got.
Yeah, I'm not real. I don't. They're kind of like a do-nothing team for me. I mean, they're a defensive-minded team. This is like almost going back in time for them. Like, yeah, they had the big three with Bosh and LeBron and Dwayne Wade, but like they're almost going back to the '90s style Heat. The teams with Alonzo Mourning and who's their power forward they always had? The PJ Brown? Was it PJ Brown?
PJ Brown.
Yeah.
It was PJ Brown, Alonzo Mourning. Was it Dan Marley was on that team?
Yeah, he was. Dan Marley too. Yes.
So it was Dan Marley, Tim Hardaway, and somebody else.
Yeah, I mean they had an aging Dan Marley, and Tim Hardaway was probably a little past his prime at that point, but this kind of reminds me of the way they're trying to build this team. It seems like your classic Pat Riley defensive, heavy defensive team. I mean, they got Bam Adebayo. I mean, he's definitely known for his defense. They got rid of Whiteside, so is Adebayo going to be able to come in there and step in right away? I don't know. They still got Justice Winslow, another guy who's kind of known for his defense. You got Jimmy Butler, he's a good two-way player, but I think his defense is a little bit better than his offense. He still can give you 19 a game. You got Goran Dragic, you got Dion Waiters. Now Dion Waiters is a chucker, we all know that. But if you add Russell Westbrook, he just fits this team's identity, and they just seem like a very scrappy, heavy defensive team. You know what? If they get Westbrook, I could see them anywhere from like 46 and 36 to maybe, if they have a really good year, to 50 and 32. I'll say it that. But this team, to me, does not have enough offense to compete with a lot of different teams. They're gonna dirty up the game, no doubt. But I'm not really high on this team. And you got another guy, James Johnson, another guy who plays good defense, but he's always good for a couple good dunks or two, but.
Yeah, but you don't want that guy dribbling the ball either.
No.
I remember, I'm a Raptor fan. I had to deal with this guy and seen him handle the ball, and it would always feel like a human turnover. It's bad. I mean, to me, like, I'm already running out of teams that I was all hyped on. The last team that I'm hyped on, and I was really excited to see what they did outside of Kristaps Porzingis. I don't think he earned the contract he got. Nothing showed me he's a max player. But they got, was it Seth Curry?
Yes, they just signed Seth Curry, yep.
And they traded for DeLon Wright, who I loved DeLon Wright when he was in Toronto, went to Memphis. He killed it in Memphis with JV. They both had good years. And he signed a nice, I think it was like 2 year, $20 million or something like that. It's a decent contract. But I like what they're doing. They have depth. They got shooters. They have a lot in play. I really, really like what the Mavs, to me, are a dangerous team. And I know people are going to say, well, because Luka Doncic had one good year. No, because of how they're building everything around Luka Doncic. They're legit building around him. Like I said, I don't like Kristaps. I think they way overpaid for this guy, but I do like all the other moves they've made. What do you think about the Mavs?
The Mavericks are an interesting team. They are banking a lot on Kristaps Porzingis, because if you look at the rest of their team, I mean, do they have another star to go along with him? I'm not sure. When I look at them, I mean, they're decent. I mean, I think they won 28 games last year. They were competitive, no question. I don't know. I guess it depends on how Porzingis plays. Him and Luka could be really something special. I'm interested. I don't know if it's going to work. I could see this team going 32 and 50, or I could see them maybe if they had a really good year, 500. They are young. I'll give them that. And a lot of times you're not seeing the Dallas Mavericks ever being young. They're usually a team that has a lot of veterans. But you know what? They're going to be fun to watch, and I want to see if Luka can keep his trajectory going upwards, because last year he had a phenomenal rookie year. I'm definitely. We'll see what Porzingis can do. I mean, we'll see. He tore his ACL. I mean, we'll see if he can come back and be the guy he was.
Did he get? What was the case he caught?
Yeah, I mean, he's been getting in trouble too a couple times. I mean, he's he had that case in the New York apartment with that girl. She said that he forced himself on her. We don't know what's going on there. Then he had the fight over in, I want to say it was like, it might have been his own country. I know it was a European country, but he got in a fight with some Russians guys or something. So, yeah, I mean, it's
keeping it gangsta out there.
Right, exactly. So I don't really know, man. He seems like a guy that might want to stay home after game days.
Absolutely. See, and here's my thing. Like, everybody's hyped on the Clippers and Lakers right now. I think the two best teams in the West is Denver and Portland.
Definitely. Denver is a team to really get hyped on. Portland had a really good draft, I think. I liked what they did in the draft. And I think if they can get one of those guys to pan out, I think Portland could be going to the finals if they can get one more guy. And you have to think Portland has to get those guys through the draft because they're kind of capped off on giving big contracts to Lillard and McCollum.
Oh yeah, but their big man got hurt. I always forget, and I love the guy. I think his name is Zach Collins, the power forward.
He showed something last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's promising. And these guys will only learn with experience, and they're young. You know what I mean? Like, so, I like what Portland's doing, and I know. Do you have another team you want to talk about?
I mean, what about the Utah Jazz getting Mike Conley, and then they made some interesting moves. I mean, they got.
See, I'm salty.
Yeah,
I'm salty because I love Rubio. I love Rubio. He's a pass-first guy. Conley's on the other end of 30, right? Isn't he like 30-something?
He's up there. I think he's like. I think he's going to be 33 this year.
Yeah. So you're getting an aging guy, and like people want to always hype on Rudy Gobert's like defense. I hate Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is one of the most overrated big guys I've ever seen.
He's all. I mean, he does not show up in the playoffs. I mean, that's his big knock. A lot of Joe Ingles has had some big games in the playoffs, but Rudy has not. And they did add Bojan Bogdanovic from the Pacers. I mean, he's another stretch guy. I mean, now you got basically Bogdanovic and Joe Ingles one or the other is going to be out there at all times. But he's another guy. I mean, he averages 18 points in the regular season, but when it comes to playoff time, where is he? He's nowhere to be found. So
they have one guy in Donovan Mitchell, and everybody else was nothing.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I want to say they signed. I want to say they got another free agent too, but I know they signed some guy. I know it was Bogdanovic and somebody else. So
it was like a mid-level kind of guy.
Yeah, kind of mid-level. He's not an all-star, but a guy that's been around for a while. So I don't know. But they looked intriguing. But how much does Donovan Mitchell? How much does his jump? In year 3, because year 2. He still averaged 24 a game, I believe. So it definitely was no sophomore slump. But, man, if he really wants to take off, I'd like to see him around 27 a game. Him and Conley could be nice.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Conley, but he could help his game out a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. And the funny thing about Mike Conley is he actually averaged 21 a game last year. I mean, I would have never thought he averaged that much, but he did. Surprisingly.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So before we, start plugging things, do you want to try to make an NBA Finals prediction?
Wow. That's something serious right now. Yeah, I hate to do this. I don't want to jinx my Bucks. I really don't.
Dude, we gotta do this. We gotta go out there and do shit like.
I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. I'm definitely. Hopefully, you pick the same team as I do, because I don't know why you wouldn't.
But wait.
Let's say the.
But wait. There's one team we forgot to talk about.
What's that?
Clippers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So.
What's your thoughts on this team?
I mean, I like it. I like Kawhi. Obviously, I love Kawhi. I liked him in San Antonio. I enjoyed him obviously in Toronto. He bring a championship when no one else could. Paul George, love him. But to be honest with you, I think that team last year, I think they went over their ceiling. I just think they overachieved.
Yeah.
Lou Williams absolutely, is great 6 man. Won a 6 man with Toronto. Did it with the Clippers. But I don't think they have enough. I don't see the West is so tough. You know what I mean? If you get Klay Thompson back at the end of the year, just say he plays the last 10, 20 games. If he does come back, Golden State is still a pretty good team. They're not a championship team now, but I don't think they have. Even if he comes back fully healthy, I don't put Golden State as the best team in the league. So, they're still a really good team. You got the Lakers, who are a good team, because they'll compete. You have Denver and Portland, which I think are amazing teams. You have your Utahs, where you're not sure where they are. Sacramento, me and you are pretty high on with their youth. The West is so deep that I could see the Clippers getting to the Western Conference Finals or getting knocked out in the second round. I don't see them making the finals. I think Kawhi's going to sit back and be like, damn, I came back to this. Because every night you're going to go against top teams. Where in the East, you got 3-4 teams you got to deal with. In the West, you got 7-8 teams you got to deal with. So I think it's going to be rough for them. And like I said, I don't see the Clippers making the finals.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I don't know how well Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going to play off each other, because I think they both kind of need the ball in their hands. I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, it's always great to have another guy that can really relieve the pressure. They got a lot of guys that just play really hard, like Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Patrick Beverley, those guys. I was really excited to see that young core, though, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Landry Shamet, but they ended up trading Gilgeous. Shamet's a decent player. I think he's going to get better. He's a stretch. He hits that three. I think he could be something like a Klay Thompson. Definitely. That's what he was showing signs in the playoffs, at least. And just to touch on Golden State real quick, they did sign D'Angelo Russell, and they got Willie Cauley-Stein. That was some pretty good moves by them. I don't think they're going to be able to replace the level of Klay Thompson, but like you said, if they get Klay Thompson back, that team definitely can get hot and maybe even go to the finals. Maybe.
Yeah, but the other day, Wojciechowski, he was saying that they're thinking about trading D'Angelo Russell.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It popped up on his Instagram, and I was like, oh, shit. But it was his legit Instagram. And I think it even said, waive or trade. And I was like, holy shit. So I don't know what their plans are for him. I don't know what they're going to do. But at the same time, and we keep saying the West is super deep.
It is. So,
all right.
Back to your finals.
Before we do predictions, my fault, because I got to do this because I'm a New York guy. How excited are you to see that the Knicks didn't get Zion? They were all hyped on getting Kyrie and Durant. Did not get Kyrie and Durant, and they got Julius Randle.
Oh, man, this franchise is just wow. They are down in the dumps right now. Okay, let's put it this way. They did get rid of the bad contracts, though, correct?
Yes.
So they don't, it's not everything is negative. I don't know. They got, RJ Barrett, it's tough to say because, yeah, he struggled. He's been struggling in Summer League, but you know who else struggled last year was Trae Young. So I don't take Summer League to be everything, but you know what? Dennis Smith Jr., RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, that That seems like a 25-win team to me. I don't know about you.
No, I think they're horrible. I do like the Mitchell kid. They're big. I like Mitchell. I think he's a good player. But until they get rid of James Dolan, that team is never going to get anybody. They're going to be horrible for years to come. Like, just say, like, if you're my age and you grew up a Knicks fan, you can at least say, you know, I watched the Starks, Oakley, Masons, Harper, Ewings. Like, you got to see them and the Bulls just go ham. Did they win? No. You know what I mean? But they were still a great team.
Yeah, that was the golden era.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then if you're a little younger than me, you could say, well, I seen Latrell Sprewell and Marcus Camby get to the short season, get to the finals against the Spurs and lose. But if you're underneath that, your Knicks have been horrible your entire life, and it's not going to change. James Dolan is the same as old man. Oh my God, just forgot his name. He died. He was from the Raiders.
Oh, Art Davis, right? Was it Art Davis?
Al Davis.
Yes. Al Davis.
They have, unfortunately, they don't have the good Al Davis. They have the old Al Davis, you know, who thought that the Raiders were still, you know, the 1970 Raiders in 2015.
Right.
So the Knicks, and it's funny because I got a lot of Knicks fans that, you know, they got super pissed off because I was like, you know, I thought it was funny. You know, I enjoy watching the Knicks be horrible because I deal with Nick homers all the time, and it's like, how can you talk to me when your team is complete ass?
Yeah.
So they're horrible. Guys, you better start doing a GoFundMe or start putting things around the arena to get rid of Dolan. You know, if you want anything, you got to get rid of the Black Cloud, James Dolan. Back to predictions. I'm going to say the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Portland Trail Blazers, and I'm going to say the Bucks win in 7.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. I like it, though. I like it. I'll go Portland. Portland's interesting because they're always like a roller coaster team. Like, so one year they look really good, and the next, I mean, they got swept in New Orleans 2 years ago, and then this year, you know, they're back at the 3 seed again, and they're just blowing out everybody. I'll go Milwaukee because I think they are the safest pick because we don't really know what we're going to get out of Philly, and we don't really know what we're going to get out of Boston. I'll go Milwaukee. Oh, man, I'm tempted not to pick the Clippers. I'll go, you know what? If Klay Thompson comes back somehow, I don't know if he will, but if he does, I'll go Milwaukee, Golden State. If Klay Thompson doesn't come back, I'm going to go Milwaukee and the Clippers. I'll say Milwaukee wins.
Wow.
In six.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I got to you made me give one, so I got to get it.
I don't know. I just, you know, when we talk a lot, and I love the smaller market teams, and I don't believe there's small market teams anymore with all the social media and everything. So I think that whole media outlet thing is so overblown nowadays because everybody's got an Instagram, a Twitter, a Snapchat, everything. All kinds of social media outlets everybody has. So, you know, does it matter if you play for LA? Does it matter if you play for the Knicks? Because if that was the case, then the Bulls, Knicks, Pistons, Lakers would all be dominant teams, and none of them are.
That's right. Yep.
You know, I would love to see what they would deem small market. I would love to see Portland. I would love to see freaking the Bucks because it's two, you know, quote unquote small market teams. But there's so many stars on those teams like McCollum, Giannis,
he could be a freak on
Dame Dash, he's a rapper, Jesus Christ. Damian Lillard. You know, like, you have so many people that, you know, I would just love to watch for an intense 7 games. So I'm going with that. Do you want to plug anything?
You know what? I got the Okay, so I want to plug the Heelcast. It's a wrestling podcast, but the one thing I want to plug is check out the interview we did with Homicide. It was a blast talking with him. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, check it out. I'm sure if you're a fan of pro wrestling, you know who Homicide is. He did not cut any corners. He kept everything 100. So check out the interview we did with Homicide. Also, we got some more reviews of One Night Only, Clash at the Bluegrass. That's coming up. And we also got a Amazing Race 31 finale podcast that we still got to do, but we're going to get it done real quick. And we're going to talk about that final episode with me and Calbert. That's on my channel. You can see it at Matt Hurley, just MattHurley. Go to YouTube and you can check all that out. And then also go to the Heelcast page on YouTube. Just type in Heelcast, one word. You can catch it all there. And finally, Retro Review Crew is not dead. It will be back soon. We got a couple new games we're going to be talking about, so real excited about that. Take it away, Chef.
All right, so I will co-sign with the whole Heelcast and everything else. Now, let me explain something to everybody. I grew up, I'm not even going to say where I grew up, pretty tough area, but if you want to hear a real New York person, you got to listen to this Homicide interview. Here's a guy who's he's cut from that same cloth we all cut from. He keeps it 100 the whole time. This is one of those amazing interviews. You have all the outlets that he just told you where to find it. Do me a favor, all my New York people that I grew up with watching wrestling or playing sports, everyone that sees this, please and throw a like to it. If you don't want to subscribe, which I tell everybody all the time, subscribe to the Heelcast, throw the like, throw the notification. If you don't want to subscribe, because if you're not into wrestling, fine. But New Yorkers, we stick together. Please listen to this interview, and let's help the homies out. Give them the thumbs up. Let's get those views up. Let's get this thing super popping. From my own stuff. I do have my own shirts. I got my own printing stuff. If you go to Facebook, put Heel Team S6x ENT. So it's all spaced out. Heel Team S6x Entertainment, which is ENT. I'm going to start putting out more pictures. I'm actually shooting commercials with a friend. So I'm starting to, really move my shirts and stuff like that. But, much love to the Bodega Podcast. I got to shout them out. But definitely, please look at that interview. And on that, I hope you enjoyed the show. Me and my boy, we're out of here.
Team 6 production.